I'm Judy O'Neill, President of Partners for Learning and Leadership and a member of the adjunct faculty here at Teachers College, Columbia University.
And I'm Victoria Marsick. I'm also a partner for Learning and Leadership, and I'm faculty here at Teachers College, Columbia University. I teach adult learning and organizational studies in the Department of Organization and Leadership. We are very honored to be here for the Chinese translation of our book on understanding action learning. We want to share in this book over 20 years of experience in working with many different organizations in both the private sector and the public sector to figure out how are good ways to design, manage, and coach in action learning programs. We wrote this book so that others could benefit from what we have learned and what our colleagues have learned, when and how to use action learning, steps to follow in designing and managing programs in your organizations, and tips and skills for coaching in action learning sets.
For example, we had developed the concept of the 4 schools of action learning a number of years ago. That is the tacit school, the scientific school, the experiential, and the critical reflection schools, in order to help practitioners understand that there were a variety of action learning practices, and to better understand really how to use action learning in different situations. We used these schools as the foundation for the book. Another example that we were able to include in the book was that during my dissertation work, which was on the role of the learning coach in action learning, I had the opportunity to interview a number of people who had a wealth of knowledge of action learning. For example, I spoke to Reg Revens, who was considered to be the father of action learning. Mike Pedler, who is on his 4th edition of the book Action Learning in Practice. Alan Mumford, who's well known for his work on learning styles that's part of many action learning programs. And Christina Weinstein, who has written and published many of her own books on action learning. So the chapter in our book on learning coaches gave me an opportunity to share their wisdom with our readers. Finally, our own practice and research gave us a great understanding of the concepts of design, practice, and evaluation of action learning. And this book gave us an opportunity to share that with other practitioners.
As Judy has said, there are many different ways to practice action learning. Action learning may not be initially comfortable because people of every culture may not be used to initiating and following through on their own learning. Learning coaches are guides on the side, not sages on the stage, and so training and development people who facilitate and support action learning often have to get used to a totally different way of working in action learning programs. This kind of change in the role of the learner and the role of the trainer can be very uncomfortable at first. It may be unexpected. However, action learning really does prepare people for working more effectively in global marketplaces where new ways of working and learning are needed in order to survive and compete. So we really firmly believe that action learning programs can improve the capability without changing organizational culture, but they can also be used as transitional spaces in order to help people and organizations grow and change in different ways in this new marketplace. Based on what we believe about action learning and our understanding of people in China who may or may not have much familiarity with it, we would recommend that you start reading with Chapter 2 in this book, which focuses on co-designing an action learning program to ensure results. In this chapter, we lay out, step by step, a process that is easy to follow and that's comprehensive. We help to explain these steps by providing examples of actual programs that have been implemented according to the steps and met with success. Once a reader has gotten comfortable with these basics, Chapter 3, Implementation Strategies, will be a good follow-up. Based on the particular needs of your action learning program, you can select for many different tips and resources in that chapter. So we think of ourselves as partners in co-design with clients, and we hope that you will think of us that way too, through the stories and advice that we and colleagues have shared in this Chinese translation of our book.
Finally, we would like to thank our translator, Kevin Howe, the Chinese Training Magazine, and our publisher, AMACOM, particularly Christine Shao, Director of Development and Marketing in Shanghai, for this wonderful opportunity to have our book translated into Chinese. We hope you enjoy the book.